Hello, everybody. Today we are going to be focusing on poor working conditions as well as the rise of unions. So make sure that today you are filling in your guided notes. Find the section on working conditions and unions, and you'll be filling this in. All right. So we ended with the rise of big business, talking about some of the robber barons, captive industry, some of the tactics that they used to gain their wealth, and all that goes hand in hand with the workers. As I mentioned in a previous lecture, working conditions were not good at all. They were awful, as well as the workers made very little money. So here's this little, couple of slides here to kind of showcase that. So most factory workers work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. So if they were lucky, they got one day off. So think about how long 12 hours a day is. Like you're in school for 7 or 8 hours, um, 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:30 till about 2:30. If you're working 12 hours, you're gone from like 6 to 6, 6 in the morning, 6 at night, 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock at night. That's a long day. That was basically your life, was basically working in the workplace. Steel mills, they often demand the workers work 7 days a week, having no time off. So think about how demanding that would be, working all day, not having time for yourself to have fun, do what you want to do. So this kind of goes back to like the first day of the unit where you have your have and you have your have-nots. Um, Again, a very, very rough time for the average person. There was no vacations, there was no sick leave, there was no unemployment. So if you got laid off, um, you didn't get any benefits for that. Or if you were injured on a job, there was no benefits or money given to you. If you were hurt, you were not getting any money, not getting any paychecks. Um, if you were sick, you didn't get paid. So think about how that changes from today. Like today, we have those things in place, but back then they didn't. This left a lot of people really struggling. Children as young as 5 years old worked as much as 12 hours a day, or sometimes even 14 hours a day, for as little 27 cents a day. So children were seen as ideal candidates for these factories. So think about why. For one, they're little, and most kids are compliant with adults. If adults tell them to do something, they're gonna do it because they're scared. They also got paid less than a male worker. So if you're a factory owner and you're looking at cutting wages, um, that would also be ideal too. You're saving money by having paying children. And the third reason why children are seen as more valuable too, because they're smaller, so they could fit in smaller places. If something happened where the machine broke down at a factory, kids' fingers were able to reach in between them and fix them. So that was another reason why they were sometimes seen as being very valuable. So look at some, just go and look, and try to look at some of these pictures here. You have this young woman, I'm guessing she's 12 years old, 11, 13, somewhere in that range. Look at her clothes, man. I mean, raggedy, they're dirty. Look at her, look at the windowsill here. It's all like dark with soot, and dust. Most times in these factories, the windows wouldn't open, or the factory owners wouldn't allow them to open. So think about like when you're in an environment where you have all this dust flying off the machines. This is all things that you're breathing. Asthma is going to be an issue. Lung issues, bronchitis, will be a major issue too. Look how serious she looks, guys. I mean, I don't know. When you think of kids, you should be thinking about playing, having fun, that kind of thing. For these kids, their childhood, they weren't really able to do that. But also look at this too. Look where her hands are located at. Um, for kids, think about like their attention span. Um, Accidents happened all the time. Oops, I'm sorry, go back. Where a lot of factory accidents happened, where your shirt would get sucked in, your fingers get caught in the machine. Um, so again, pretty awful. See a case here, just kids barefoot, sitting on a milk crate, balance. Look at his shirt right against the machine press. So working conditions and safety wasn't the most ideal. It's all about production. What can you produce? Those workers were seen as just objects. Um, you weren't really seen as a person, and your safety wasn't really kept in mind. This is not a very. This is obviously a very dangerous pose. But the factory owners didn't care. The managers didn't care. Another photo here. You see these, young women, how they're serious they look, and dirty clothes, and they just look a lot older than what they should be when you think kids are gonna having fun. These are coal miners here, these young men doing back-breaking work, how dirty they are. So again, think about your experience, boy, sitting in a classroom for 7 hours. These kids didn't have that experience. They were doing back-breaking work at an early age. Then you have this case. This is a sweatshop. Women are basically on top of each other, essentially. Um, they're on a little workstation all day, sewing or knitting something. Um, Again, pretty dangerous conditions as well. We'll get to that a little bit later. All right, so worker complaints. Let's see here. There we go. All right, so workers complained that they felt like they had a loss of freedom. As you guys saw some of those pictures, there was no talking, there was no laughing aloud. The emphasis was on production. You were there to work. The managers and owners didn't care about your name. Most times they didn't even know their names. Their job was to be there to work and not socialize, not make friends. That was basically it. Loss of identity. You were just a nameless number. Again, you didn't have those bonds between, at the workplace. That wasn't valued. Wages. The average wage was $3 to $12 a week, depending on what job you did. If you were like in construction and that kind of thing, you may have made more money. But if you were the average factory worker, you're looking at 3, 4, $5 a week. So again, not really a whole lot of money to really pay your bills. As I mentioned, dangerous working conditions. You have child labor, as you saw, sweatshop systems. You guys saw that one photo. Um, and you'll see here, especially with like Carnegie, with something called company towns. So Carnegie, for instance, would settle his factory, and then he'd buy grocery stores. Carnegie bought apartment complexes. He bought gas stations. He bought all these things. He basically ruled everything in that town. So if you were a worker who worked for him, you basically owned them because you owned the apartments, you owned the grocery stores, you owned everything. So that's why many people were compliant, which will lead us into our growth with our next topic, unions. So this is the rise of organized labor. Again, after so long, when you're having this happen for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years, eventually the workers are going to rise up and realize that they have some power, that the owners need you to make the money. And when workers start kind of coming together, and essentially it's a form of protest, they realize they have a lot of power. So that's what the rise of organized labor. Organized labor is just the worker or organizing. All right, so kind of highlighting some different things that we talked about. Assembly lines create more jobs. So here's assembly lines right here. People are just working on a line and they're doing a certain job, working on a product. Assembly lines create more products, mass production of goods. Assembly lines get work done faster. Now there's a mad dash to see which companies will make more products faster. So that's the whole idea is these factories are competing against each other to mass produce as much as they possibly can. That's the emphasis. So people are rushing to get the job done, so the level of quality goes down. Um, so like think about back in the day when you made something with your hand. Sometimes you put more care into it. It would take you longer. You could be more creative with your product. These factory owners didn't care about creativity. They just wanted the product made it done fast. So the level of quality really goes down. Um, So workers are under poor conditions as a result, because again, they don't care about the worker, they care about the production. So eventually the workers start realizing, well, who's going to protect us? So they start organizing, they start forming something called a union that we'll get to in a minute. So here's just a couple little stories here. This is the process was handed down from father to son in the course of time, came to my father and so to me. So basically these jobs are passed down, father to son. You basically would end up doing the exact same thing as your father did, or maybe close to it, and with very similar conditions. So a puddler is seen in this picture, a person who mixes molten dangerous metals in a factory. So this person is putting molten down into this machine, extremely hot, scorching heat all day. Your face is right by it. Again, not a very ideal job, very dangerous job, working on that kind of heat all day. So again, the sweatshop system, workplace where people labor long hours in poor conditions for low pay begin to crop up. Most workers were young women and children. So you guys see here's the sweatshop system. Nike was accused of this. within the past, well, even today, they're still accused of this. Like they have shops in Asia and other parts of the world where people are working in these kind of systems for a couple bucks a day, and but yet Nike shoes are selling for 100, 120, 150 bucks, but they're paying the workers very little. So these things still do exist in parts of the world today. Children, 2 million children under 15 working in sweatshops, textile mills, tobacco factories, garment sweatshops, coal mines. So there was no school for these kids. This destroys your chance for a better future, to get out of poverty, to do something better. It's just a vicious cycle. Your parents do it, you're going to do it, your kids are going to do it, your grandkids are going to do it. It just turns into a vicious cycle of poverty that's going to exist for generations. Hazards, as I mentioned, lung damage, dust, cave-ins. Say hi, Chase.
Hi.
Gas explosions, molten metal spills. Um, so these factory conditions are very, very, very dangerous. 195 people die in Pittsburgh in 1 year alone from all these different things, whether it's health issues, whether it's a gas explosion, or whether it's accidents in the workplace. It's very, very common. All right, so organized labor. Machines begin to take over the jobs that people had performed in the past. There's a growing sense of powerlessness that leads the workers to join together to protect worker rights. So finally, a union. These are, by the way, these are still around today, guys. I'm a part of a teachers union. There's firefighters unions, there's police unions, there's bricklayers unions, there's pipe fitters unions. But anyway, a union is an organization where workers join together and demand fair pay and safe working conditions from their employer. So the idea is strength in numbers. That if all the workers are united, they are united together to fight against the employer to make sure things are done safe in the workplace, their rights are protected in the workplace. Um, so yeah, this is a very, 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 very important vocabulary term. You need to know what unions are. Under state test is something that's really kind of hit hard in that. So what powers do unions have? Collective bargaining, negotiations between workers and employers. So before, when there's an issue, the workers will meet with the employers and they'll discuss, well, what does the workers want? What do the employers want? Sometimes collective bargaining means when you bargain, you don't get everything you want. You kind of meet in the middle. So it's kind of like you are negotiating. And when you negotiate, you don't get everything that you are looking for. Um, so that's what bargaining means. You get to give and you have to take. But here's the most powerful thing. So after collective bargaining, if you still can't agree, workers will vote to go on strike. They'll have a strike vote. Basically, what that means is that workers will refuse to go to work. A couple years ago, Strongsville teachers went on strike. Um, they refused to go into work for contract. You know, they weren't. Both sides couldn't collect the bargaining. They were done. They weren't. Either side wasn't willing to budge. Eventually, they went on a strike. So, what do unions fight for? They fight for better working conditions and longer hours. Um, so, it's something that's very, very important. Hold on, buddy. I'm almost done. Um, so, even with this whole coronavirus thing, there's been issues with schools. Some of the teachers unions have been threatening to go on strike for safety protocols. Sometimes they don't feel like the school districts have been doing enough to keep teachers safe. So some, not our district, but there have been some districts in the news that have threatened to go on strike for safety protocols. So they're just kind of giving you some examples. All right, so some examples of unions. The Knights of Labor. This is one of the first um, labor unions, very, very powerful. They were developed in 1869. Their job was to work to protect worker rights. Terrence Powderly was the president of this union, and some of the things they did, they won an 8-hour workday and they won no child labor. They had a membership of 700,000 people by 1880, and this was the first union to accept all races and genders. So unions, at first, not every union had, they allowed every worker to be a part of it. But this was the first one to allow all races, all genders, male, female, whatever, to be a part of this union. All right, so we're going to go on to video number 2, guys. Unfortunately, we couldn't finish it all in this one, so make sure you listen to part 2 um, on the next video.